webcam's not on my computer because I thought someone was watching me last night.
Huh?
Okay. There we go. Okay, so here's what I found. I'm on Lolking, so I'm looking at it, and what it says is Ness becomes empowered with a sandstorm for 15 seconds, increasing maximum health by an amount and attack range by 50. While the storm rages, he deals 3, 4, 5 plus 0 plus 0.01 times AP percent of nearby enemies' maximum health to each second, 240 damage max per second, as magic damage and converts it into bonus attack damage.
Yeah, that is part of it. But it seems like the only part that scales the AD is the damage he deals with his ult. Like, it's not
AP.
like if you Q while ulted. So the problem really with this is to get the AD, you're gonna have to stack AP.
Exactly.
Like,
and you're gonna be stacking damage on your Q anyway. So I feel like the bonus AD from that we're gonna get from the ultimate, plus the stack damage from the Q, plus the burst damage from the E because you're building AP, would be a lot.
well, the real question is, okay, so that's weird. Hold on. While he is empowered, he deals magic damage to all enemies around him each second, capped at 240.
Yeah, per second.
Now is that 240 per second cap including their max, like their magic damage per sec, like, you know what I mean, the max HP part?
Yes, that's the max damage that the actual sandstorm can do per second is 240.
Okay.
So that means we can only get a total of, let me see here, 40 times is 3,680. That's the most that we can get.
Well, it's up to a maximum of 300 bonus AD. There's a cap on how much AD you can gain from it.
Wait, well, where does it say that?
On the wiki. When Nasus is empowered, he deals magic damage to all enemies around him each second, capped at 240. He gains bonus attack damage equal to 6.375% of the damage dealt, up to a maximum of 300 bonus AD.
So he can get a bonus of 300 bonus AD from his ultimate.
So, but it's it's a ratio. So hold on. If he can deal,
here, send me the link so I can look at this.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the damage calculations right now for you as well. Because if what? That was weird.
Right,
Told me I didn't have permissions for a second. So let's see. If he can deal 240 max a second over 15 seconds, that means the max damage he can deal is 3,600 divided by
if he can do 3,600 damage times 0.06375. That's 229.5 damage. So they're actually giving us a higher maximum bonus AD.
Wait, what? What are you saying?
Because it's 6.375% of the damage dealt. So to get that, you take the maximum damage that can be dealt.
Which is 3,600.
And you multiply that by 0.06375.
Yeah.
Which is 200 some.
So yeah, you can't even get the max AD across the duration. Like, you physically can't get it.
Or maybe you can.
I mean, the only way it is if the I don't know.
That's still a lot of AD though.
I mean, it's not a bad amount of AD, but the real problem with theorycrafting this build is that the duration of the ult is only 15 seconds. That's a tiny, tiny window of power to theorycraft around. Like,
Well,
even if
that's
you get
why
off.
I'm thinking that, Rylai's will apply 40% slow, and this ticks every second. And Rylai's applies a slow for 1 second. So if we rush Rylai's, if we rush an item and then build Rylai's in there somewhere, then that means that they'll be constantly slowed, which means it'll be much easier to keep them in the ultimate, and we'll be constantly building up damage. So we might not even have to get to the max damage.
I mean, honestly, I mean, the problem really is that he already like building like it's not a bad item on him. Like certainly because of this adding the slow effect to your what your E, because W is Wither and E is whatever the fuck that circle skill is. Correct.
Right.
All right, so the added slow to the E is nice, but he has Wither. Like if you just hold your Wither and Wither pre-ult, they're gonna be stuck inside the ult anyway.
I
Do
don't
you know what
think
I mean?
Wither doesn't apply Rylai's.
No, but it slows. It's the best slow in the game.
Yeah, but
And
it's it's only 5 seconds. That's 10 seconds of the ult um that you're not able to keep them in. So I almost feel like it's worth it to get both.
I mean maybe. I mean I feel like AP Nasus is going to want to grab it anyway because it's HP and AP and it's a good buy like for catching people with the Spirit Fire
All right, and I'm
regardless.
looking at this. Woda, a spell vamp is only 1/3, but Woda will heal us for 5% of the raw damage dealt. So it'll ignore damage reduction and resistances. So that's going to be a shit ton of damage. So I feel like Woda might be a good item as well because you're
There
going to
was
be.
a You're touching on a theory crafted build that used to exist pre-nerfed Runeglaive. Back when Runeglaive Ezreal was a thing, there was a counter build, not necessarily to counter Ezreal, but just that this dude Keen was trying out, where he went mid lane AP Nasus
Yeah, with
because
Runeglaive.
with
Yeah.
Runeglaive. So you're kind of touching on that build in a way, but I feel like all you're gonna end up with is just AP Nasus. Like I don't know if there's any way to really like the only item I can think of that like hybridizes with the idea would be like um fucking Rageblade. But like that's so not good on Nasus. Like it's such an awkward build path. It's really expensive. It doesn't give him any tanky stats, and there's like no good
Mm.
spot in his build path to rush it, or to build it really.
Unless you get
So I think
ahead. I mean, if you get
well
ahead
yeah, but
and
I
you.
mean if you get ahead, you get ahead. But that's not really Nasus's game. I mean, you, maybe it really comes down to um
Let's look at some items here.
really comes down to your first three items is like hmm.
They need to update this website. It still has Runeglaive on here as one of the jungle enchantments. Um,
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. What about? Hmm.
What about Roa?
Well, obviously Roa. That.
No, I mean, like that would probably be the first item he would have to rush. He would have to rush Roa.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have to go Roa. I feel like he might not be that bad going Roa Rylandries into shoes wherever, and then like see, this is the problem. Like you'll hit a nice power spike if you do it properly. I would think with the second or third item with the like once your row is stacking and you pick up Crystal Scepter, you can make picks, or if like you're dealing with a tankier enemy team, you can pick up hunting
Leandri's
guys
first.
into Leandry's first, and you can really chew people up with that Spirit Fire.
I wonder if
But
cooldown reduction would be.
that's what I was about to say. That's the other problem is Nasus needs fucking CDR. He needs it so bad. Like
What about
Frozen Heart is
Athene's?
so core on him. Now Athene's fucking garbage right now. Athene's is such a bad item for the gold. It's
Hmm.
really really stat inefficient.
What about Frost
Um,
Queens?
I mean, I guess you could go Frost Queens
Because
and
think
give you
about it.
some.
Because Nasus's pattern is sporadic. Well, he's trying to farm constantly, but his pattern is save the farm for his Q. So he might have enough time to proc the Spell Thief's Edge in
I
between
mean,
that, especially with his E. because
The
it is a
issue
damage over time.
the issue with building Frost Queen's Claim isn't so much like your theoretical uptime on getting the 15 gold tribute passive, because like you're not going to start in lane with Frost Queens. You're not going to like go to lane with a Frost, like a Spell Thief Edge as Nasus. You're going to go to lane with, you know, either a Doran's or a shield or sword probably. Like you definitely don't want to tip your hand early of the AP Nasus either. Like if you can trick your lane opponent into buying, like you don't want to buy
Armor, yeah.
armor versus Nasus necessarily because most of his damage is magic damage, but if they can like I've definitely justified as a Lowy being like, yeah, I need MR, but I can get away with rushing my Iceborne Gauntlet because he does do enough physical damage that the armor will help me. You know what I mean? If you can trick them into that first armor purchase, that will help you. So really, if you were gonna build Frost Queen's Claim on him, you would back when you got the um enough for Frostfang, the 850 mark, and you wouldn't build Roa. That's the problem. Like the
Yeah.
only way that's effective is to get like a Frostfang on first back, and
Unless
then
you
over
saved up
time it'll.
enough to get 2050 first back and get Catalyst plus
No,
Frostfang.
because if you had enough for that, you're better off just buying Catalyst and like shoes and some other shit, or Catalyst and Rod, and like having a really early Roa. Like Frost Queens is good on paper for this to a degree, but there's no proper place to build it.
What about
Like
Lichbane?
Lichbane's not bad. That Lichbane has how much CDR now?
Lichbane's CDR is 10%, so it's not amazing, but better than zero. And it has a cheap build path now because it's got Sheen is less because it's 1050.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to get a Sheen proc in Gnosis' kit anyway.
Yeah,
So
Aether
Lichbane is
Wisp.
probably. I mean, all right. So if he goes, I
And
mean,
Lichbane now procs off of base attack damage plus ability power as well because they changed it a couple patches ago.
okay, but that won't affect the ult because it's bonus AD, not base AD. But
Oh, that's right.
I
Oh,
mean,
fuck.
theoretically, if you went Roa and then some combination of Rylandries and a Lichbane, that would leave you shoes and one last item, and you could go defensive if you need to. I mean, the Lichbane proc might help with farming Q to a degree as well.
It might
Like
be
as you
worth
start
it
to get scaling.
to even get the catalyst and then get a Sheen and then finish the Roa.
I mean, that's really like that's not something you have to theorycraft. That's more like
What's how
in
the
the
lane's
game.
going?
Yeah, like that's totally determined by like how your last hitting's going, like how behind or ahead you are. Like that's all like things you'll figure out match by match.
Okay,
But
how
like,
about I'm looking at that last item. I'm trying to think what would synergize.
oh,
Um,
hold up, I got a phone call.
yeah, all of his ringtones are fucking League of Legends songs.
Okay, I'm back.
I was thinking, what about Abyssal as last item?
Honestly, like the last item, like what I've learned with theorycrafting in this current meta is like the last item is not important. Like I know that sounds weird, but like honestly, like if you get to last item, then you're gonna be buying something completely based on how the team's the situation is. Like if you need more damage, you're gonna buy a cap. If you need something defensive, you're gonna buy like Zanya's, or maybe you're gonna cap CDR with like a Frozen Heart or something. Like you're gonna pick a defensive or an offensive item that fits what you need at the time. Maybe you'll grab Void Staff, maybe you'll grab Abyssal Scepter based on the enemy's MR stacking or your team comp, because like Abyssal Scepter is popular right now as a second or third item for mids because it didn't get nerfed. Like it
Yeah,
gives a lot of stats, but it didn't get nerfed. So like all the stats are relevant, and there's a lot of stuff in the meta right now that benefits from the close range Abyssal Scepter debuff in team fights.
yeah.
So
It
those
actually
kind of
got buffed in a
purchases,
way because
yeah,
Rod is cheaper. Blasting
hmm
Wand.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, that item's not bad, especially for Nasus's ult. Like there might be, as we play this, we find that like Abyssal Scepter is a better item than maybe like Torment.
It might
Like
be.
for the
Yeah.
like it could be mathematically that way. You might find like a better power spike off that item. I don't necessarily know. But the more important part is really cementing the order of like what the first item you rush is, like the component off of it, then the first full item, and then like your plans for your second and third item. Like for example, like Alawi, like I'm very much in the camp of like rush Iceborne Gauntlet. Like Black Cleaver is good and it helps with shredding and team fighting, but your team fighting is already strong enough. Grab
Right.
Iceborne Gauntlet in the beginning and you can't be 1v1. You can't even most of the time be 2v1 and your pushing power is absurd. Like it's so filthy. So like if you theory craft your build off your first item, you'll get a stronger path that you can test across a few games, in my opinion. So I would think that the two ideal first items for him would either be Roa, or if shit goes really bad, maybe you grab like a Sheen and a Frostfang, and then get like a Lichbane and like don't build out that. No, I feel like you have to build out the Frostfang for it to be relevant. Like I could maybe see an early Frostfang if you're getting really shit on and like you want to build into the
Spooky ghosts.
the Spooky Ghosts over Aroa, and then go into Lichbane, and then you've got like a nice solid 20% CDR core, and you could probably farm safely to get out the stuff you need because like some of those AP items are expensive.
All right, get
But
on League. We want to test this stuff out.